my experience with safety within my own body was pretty much non-existent my whole life. I always really searched for external comfort or external validation, external things to make me feel certain ways. I found it really difficult to be with myself.
Welcome back to another episode of Conversations That Count. I'm your host, Gian, and today's conversation is one that I know will leave something lingering in your heart long after you finish listening. I'm sitting down with the incredible Davina. She's an embodiment coach, energetic healer, podcaster, author, and powerful voice for women learning how to feel safe in their bodies again. In this episode, we talk about everything from nervous system healing and emotional releases to motherhood, celibacy, relationships, pleasure, and self-trust. It's raw, it's honest, and it's full of those, oh my God, I needed to hear that moments. If you've ever felt like you have lost touch with who you are, like you're always doing but never being, or like you've been dimming your light just to fit into rooms that don't fully see you, this episode is for you. Let's dive in. So welcome.
Hi.
We were just chatting and I'm like, there's so many different angles that we can take this conversation today. So I'm so excited just to see what naturally comes up and the flow of it as well. You're a energetic healer and also an embodiment coach as well, and that I just love all of that as well. Like, you're a fucking badass, really. Like, you're a podcaster, you're an author, you're a healer, you're all the things, which I just love when people just kind of say yes to so many opportunities and create this beautiful kind of persona as well. So welcome.
Thank you. I'm going to add badass to my title now.
Yeah, please do. Yeah. I didn't even know where that came from. I'm just like, oh, it just felt fine.
I love it. Thank you. Thank you so much.
Yeah.
It's been a really cool couple of weeks for me because I've actually been a guest on podcasts, and like we were just talking about off air, it's always like really exciting getting to meet new people and sit down and be the person getting questioned instead of being the person doing the questioning. So Thank you so much for having me.
Oh, you're welcome. So, all right, let's start then. So you're a guest on podcasts. Like, what's your favorite question that you ask people?
My favorite question that I ask people?
Yeah, or you get asked.
Oh gosh. Way to throw me right in the deep end. I mean, I always like knowing what's bringing people comfort at the moment. Like, what is something that they're doing that like just brings them comfort, and something that I love doing, which is actually like a non-negotiable for me, like to remain sane through my weeks, is like my downtime watching trashy TV. And I know it's like not very holistic of me, but honestly, like it's my favorite. It's the one time that I get to like unwind and relax and enjoy and I also really enjoy watching people's like characters, and because I love people, so I love watching it, and I find it educational, and it's my favorite thing that brings me comfort. And there's nothing more that I love than finishing the day with like my clients or whatever I'm doing, and like putting on my pajamas and like setting up my little spot on the couch and watching Housewives. Yeah. It's like my favorite thing.
I love that.
Yeah.
And I think like it's important at the same time like to have that downtime, right? Because like, especially if you're on the whole entire day, it's like, okay, what can I do for me right now? And if that brings you so much like joy and peace, then do it.
You don't have to be doing, like all of these crazy rituals to be able to, recalibrate. It can be something as simple as just like mind-numbing television for half an hour. And I always really love getting that insight with other people and seeing what their little kink is. When it's their downtime, you get a really great idea of, who they are and what they like and what makes them feel yummy. And I love that question.
Yeah, so nice. I think for me, I probably am more into the reading at the moment as well, only because like it takes me way too long to search for a show that I really love. And
just message me. I've got tons for you.
Well, I might have to do that actually. So an embodiment coach, like what does that really mean, and what does it mean to you as well?
Okay. Well, I think probably taking it back, my experience with safety within my own body was pretty much non-existent my whole life. I always really searched for external comfort or external validation, external things to make me feel certain ways. I found it really difficult to be with myself. So, I was always jumping from, relationship to relationship or, addiction, not like in the way of drugs and alcohol, kind of, I guess, like, I'd always be distracting myself, but it's always whether it's like scrolling on the phone or, just keeping myself distracted from being by myself. I was addicted to distraction, and I really realized that if I wanted to create a life that felt abundant and pleasurable and nice, I really had to start getting comfortable with the uncomfortable things that were going on with me. Because when you are able to sit with yourself and sit in silence or, just sit in solitude for a little bit and get comfortable with the things that pop up, whether it's shame or loneliness or resentment or whatever it may be, and kind of look at those parts of yourself without judgment, shadow work in a way. You also are expanding your capacity to be able to sit and enjoy and marinate in the really beautiful, yummy sensations and feelings as well. So I found for a really long time in my life, I was just numb because I didn't want to have to deal with the bad. And then I was also cock blocking myself from the good. So embodiment for me, especially with being like an embodiment coach, is showing people that they are safe to be in their body and they are safe to feel all of the things, and their emotions and their trauma don't have to rule them. And we can become a lot more at peace when we can start to accept and understand what is going on and what our body is trying to tell us. Because I guess embodiment in the simplest terms is just, the best kind of information that you can gather from life, because your body is constantly in contact with you and trying to tell you things. But we are usually too distracted to notice. So, yeah, being able to be in a beautiful connection with my body and to have alignment with my mind and my spirit and my soul, it just means that my life ultimately is in alignment and it feels nice, and I can work with it instead of forcing or pushing shit uphill, as one would say. I really definitely feel like the more embodied you are, the more you are able to flow with the ebbs and flows of life without them, breaking you.
I love how you've just articulated that whole piece just now, because I feel like we're so busy just in the doing constantly, aren't we? And you do get distracted because there's so many things on that to-do list of I've got to be here, there, like got to pick up the kids, I've got to do this, and everything along those lines, that where you actually get the messages is when you sit in the silence with yourself. But because it's not on that to-do list, or it's not in the doing and it's more in the being, it sometimes can feel harder to actually do that than just autopilot, and away I go.
And the body, like, pretty much when we have this kind of dis-ease within the body or tension or stiffness, it can be just the effect of the compounding mental issues or emotional issues or spiritual issues or soul issues that you might be dealing with. It doesn't necessarily have to be a physical symptom because you've hurt yourself somewhere. Like, we have these aches and these pains within the body for all types of different reasons. That's why you can't just kind of look at one thing and one thing only. That's why you have to have a holistic view of, your health and well-being. And it's just so beautiful, like being able to sit and feel something in the body and be like, what is that? And be curious about it. And you would be so surprised at how things can pop up for you, or you can have a memory that's flashed, in your mind just by going into, what that interesting sensation is. And then, you might get emotional and might need to cry. And then before you know it, you've moved that, stagnant emotion or trauma or whatever that was stuck in the body through, and in turn you're lighter, and that's kind of the process has been done then. It just needed to be, I guess, observed and witnessed. And I feel like that's what women need. And that's why I love the work that I do. Like sometimes people, it's all well and good, like going and talking about the same thing over and over again. Talk therapy is great, but I think there's something really powerful when a woman can, you know, work with the body and be witnessed and be cheered on by kind of sitting in her grief or her sadness or working with it or moving with it. It's really powerful.
It's the body gives us so many beautiful messages, doesn't it? Like if you're willing to listen to it, it just tells you exactly what's going on. What does that look like for you, like in terms of the embodiment and creating that space where you have time to check in with yourself? What does that look like and feel like for you?
Yeah, nice question. Funnily enough, that's just my life now. That's actually my autopilot. So
The full embodiment of it, isn't it?
Yeah, like I'm constantly checking in with myself. Like I know when something is a no, even if it looks like a yes on paper. I could be like, you know, this all looks perfect, but something's telling me it's a no. And I know now too well to trust my intuition. And as women, you know, us feeling and our intuition is honestly our superpower, but we've been conditioned now to like think with logic and be strategic and, you know, have all of this planning and structure. But at the end of the day, like being able to feel your way through life or run a heart-led business, that is, you know, success. And that's what's going to set you up for success. You might not see the fruits of, you know, your labor now, but I feel like your intuition's just never wrong. And I know that so much now, especially like with doing the healing work. There's so much that comes up when I'm with a client, and it could be anything. Like they might be coming in for one thing, like a heartbreak, and then all of a sudden I'm like, oh, okay, so there's like a trauma related to your aunts, blah, 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 blah. Like it's wild. And I'm just like, really? Like, and I write it all down on paper, but I still am like, this just doesn't make sense. But I know now that if I don't say it, I'm missing out or they're missing out. So I say it all regardless on, you know, how crazy it sounds at the time. And it's never wrong, like very rarely wrong. And now I'm just like, look, I can't, I have no reasoning behind it other than like, I just trust. You just have to.
Yeah, I love that so much. And it's like that internal dialogue, or if something's coming through you, like it's there for a reason.
Yeah.
And a lot of people try to conceptualize or intellectualize whatever it is and it doesn't make sense. It doesn't have to make sense.
No.
There's so much that doesn't make sense.
Like why do we have to have control of everything and make it make sense?
I know, exactly right. Like, and especially if you're talking to like the unconscious mind or you're doing work like that, it's not going to make sense. Like, you know, if you're going past lives or you know, generations or something like that, it's not going to make sense. But it's presenting itself for a reason.
Yeah, exactly. And I think that's actually probably the thing that I'm the most proud of. Like I was up in the middle of the night last night, just thinking, but not in a bad way. Like I was just like, I am just so glad that I feel so safe in my body. I trust myself so much now. I feel like I have so much integrity for myself. Like I really don't ever people please. Like I used to say no to myself all the time, and it killed me. Like I had so much resentment because I wanted to say no to things, but no, I said yes instead. Instead I said no to myself. And, you know, I'm at a place in my life now where I'm just like, damn, like this feels really good to be able to live in alignment and also in my power, because I trust myself. And, you know, and I see it with my clients when they actually start using their voice, or they start allowing themselves to feel or cry or scream or allow themselves to receive pleasure and bliss and enjoyment, because I fucking deserve it. Like we rob ourselves from all of the good, yet we're so happy to dwell in all of the bad and let it, like, you know, cycle through our brain over and over and over again instead of actually dealing with it. So yeah, it's just, I'm going on a tangent now because I'm
I love
passionate
at the same
about
time.
it.
Yeah, no.
So, and because I've done it too. Like I think in order to be a good coach or a good, supporter or any of that, you have to have walked the line as well.
Absolutely.
You've had to been through it and experience it and come out the other end and see the proof of what it is that you're trying to do for other people. Because if you're not, it's going to be really hard to, I guess it's going to be really hard to, one, sell yourself, and it's going to be really hard to have people believe in what it is that you're doing.
Well, you become the person that you needed to your younger version of yourself.
Yes.
And so like how many people can relate to your story and who you are, and and same with me at the same time. Like we all have these really beautiful life experiences, and it's like the evolution of the person that we become, that we then get to share that wisdom onto other people and help them through that part of their life as well in their journey.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. So it's just nice. And I really like this work too, because I honestly would do it for free.
Yeah.
Because
say that too loud.
No, but I would though. It's like I'm really at a point where I'm like, I actually feel so abundant.
I love that.
In life anyway. But I would do this work for free because it's so crazy fulfilling for me.
It really is.
It's to see women have their sense of self back, and come home to themselves.
Yeah.
It's so nice to witness.
I totally agree with that as well. And, when I started on my personal development journey and going to do courses and things like that, I remember walking out of the room with my, my accreditation, and I was like, every single person in the world needs to know this information and how they operate and how they think and how they feel and their emotions and everything along those lines. It's a skill that is literally life-changing.
Yeah.
And it's not until I feel like sometimes you go through a maybe not so nice time or a challenging time that you're then like, okay, it kind of puts a pattern interrupt in a way, and you're like, okay, well, surely there's more here. I'm going to start to go down that path. But if you don't have that and you're just on autopilot, it's not until, you kind of go, okay, what else is around there? And you stumble across coaches and things along those lines to kind of help as well.
Yeah. And it's just those different perspectives, but the perspectives of things that bring it back to you.
Yeah.
Like when people first start being like reintroduced to themselves and like their inner world, it's like remarkable because you spend so many years on this earth going through life, but the one thing that you really haven't mastered is yourself. And when you start like getting a hold on that, like, wow, things change really fast. And it's really cool to see.
Yeah. You mentioned safety, and like you don't know what's going on with my voice right now. Sorry.
Like the healer in me is like, we can work on this.
I know. I was like, okay, what's the message there? Like, what am I not saying? I love that as well. And it's good like that you say that at the same time when normal people are like, do you want water?
Yeah.
I say normal. Do you know, like some people would go, do you want water? You know what I'm saying?
We're pretty, I'll openly say like I'm just super odd.
Yeah.
Like, and I think I've always been super odd, but I've always tried to fit into a box. Like I've always been super spiritual.
Yeah.
I am looking at the sky more than what I am looking at my feet. Like I'm just one of those like people.
Yeah.
And I realize now like I can be a lot for people. So now I realize that I've dulled myself down a lot to try and like be ideal for or palatable for certain types of people. And now I'm like, fuck, I'm never doing that again. But my standards for the quality of people that I have around me now are so much higher and so much weirder. That's why we're, in the same room together.
Yeah, absolutely.
But I'm like, why would I want to dull myself down or dull down my voice
Yeah.
for people that don't get me? I'd rather be in rooms with people that like get it.
And celebrate you in that as well.
Yeah.
I'm with you, like, in terms of spirituality as well, and everything's connected. Like, as soon as I have, like, even before you even said it, I was like, that's interesting. Like, already my mind goes there. Or if I've, like, hurt myself or something like that, I'm like, what's the spiritual meaning there, or what's going on for me there?
Yeah.
Rather than going, I need to have a Panadol or something along those lines. So I love that. So please bring all the
woo-woo.
Yeah, I love it. It's such a great conversation, and like it can go in so many different directions as well. You were talking about safety in yourself, and you're feeling so secure in who you are, and in alignment as well. How do you then open that up to have safety in relationships and in friendships as well? Because I feel like it's one thing to be safe and secure with you, but then it's another thing to create that safety in a different dynamic or with a connection as well.
Yeah. So I guess I can only talk from what I've experienced, and that's from me never really feeling truly safe or like I had my own back in my life. So I would search for that kind of safety or for someone else to fulfill that kind of like safety for me, but I never quite got that through partners. So I think, to be honest, if you can be in a place where you can devote this time and effort into creating a safe space for yourself where you're grounded and you're centered and you have integrity for yourself and you have your own back and you have done the work, you've seen, the wounds and you know your strengths and all of these things, I feel like it's going to be a lot better for you to be able to, have a beautiful relationship with someone else, because I think you kind of would stand on your standards. Like, you know who you are, you know what you deserve, you know your value, and you have safety within the body. So like if those people leave, you're like, cool, I still have me. Like, I'm not worried that I'm going to be alone in pieces like I always used to feel. I felt like I needed these people. I had to chase these people because I so desperately there was such a missing piece in my heart, I guess. And it wasn't for anyone else. It was for me. So I hope, ask me again when I start dating, but I think that now for me, especially with doing the foundational work, I think moving forward and finding someone who is in alignment to me and has the same values as me, first and foremost too, like when you create safety within yourself, you actually know what you really value and what you want and what you don't want. So, your judgment's not going to be getting clouded by like the shiny things, the abs, and the good teeth.
They're nice to look at too.
Yeah. But hopefully, you're just more aware and you know from your core what it is you want and what you deserve, and you won't settle. And hopefully you'll be so embodied that you'll be able to hear when your intuition's telling you something, when there's a red flag, you'll be like, oh, actually that doesn't feel right. I don't know about this. Or yes, this is amazing.
Yeah.
So I think it's a great thing. I think it should be number one priority is to create that space, that safe space for yourself and do the work prior to getting into a relationship, because then you're not going to get, a few years in and then have to go and look after yourselves and try and, you know what I mean? You want to make sure that you're whole beforehand.
Yep. I want to come back to the dating thing. We can come back to that. From a energetic healing perspective, like what does that mean as well? Like we just quietly touched on woo-woo and spirituality as well. So from a healing perspective, like what does that entail as well, and what is it for listeners?
Yeah, so what I do? Yeah, great question. It's always really quite hard for me to explain. So I am what's the word? Oh, certified, that's one. I am a certified spinal energetics practitioner and also Reiki practitioner. So also though, look, I started doing traditional Reiki. That's how I kind of started off. But as I continued and with each new person, I kind of found interesting new levels one would say, that were kind of getting unlocked with, you know, the more work that I put into myself and the more I kind of dedicated to the work. It was like my ability to work and see and feel energy was just kind of amplified, which was amazing. I've always had something. There's always been something. I've always loved my crystals, and I've always worked with people. Like, I was a PT for 10 years before this. So I was always a great kind of therapist for my personal training clients. But, you know, I always had a real passion for just like wanting to help and wanting to understand people on a deeper level, and there was always something where I kind of could read people well. Yeah. And it wasn't until I started going through my own real deep healing journey, seeing like shamanic healers and doing a lot of energy work for myself, that, you know, my shamanic healer was like, you should really look into, you know, doing a course or work, like understanding energy better, because there's a whole story, but there's past life stuff. It's like you're legit a medicine woman. Like, you should seriously look into this. I feel like that you should be doing this. So I was like, okay, you know, I may as well do my Reiki course. And it wasn't until I did my Reiki course where I had a full vision of what the upgrade space is now. I never thought I'd be like a coach or do embodiment or do healings or do anything like this. Like, if I was to look, you know, 5 years ago to look at today, I'd be like, that's a joke. What do you mean? But I just couldn't unsee it. And from there, it was like, as soon as I decided that this is what I wanted to do, it just really, amped up.
Unfolded.
And so basically, when it comes to what I do in my sessions, is I facilitate a beautiful, safe space for my clients and their innate wisdom within themselves to start the healing process, put them into their parasympathetic nervous system where they can rest and feel supported, and their body is able to speak to them. And, you know, within the sessions, I've seen everything. I've seen a lot, but it's just beautiful. And I think a lot of the time too, women aren't used to slowing down and listening, and also being held in a really beautiful, safe space. And there's something that really lovely happens when a woman feels seen and safe with someone else. It's like their nervous system naturally just starts to unwind. And the amount of healing that can be done in those spaces is so profound. You can't underestimate it. Yeah. It's incredible. And even for my daughter, like, just being able to share this with her, like, she's such a conscious little being, and being able to talk to her about like energy and her emotions and all these things. I feel like me going through what I went through in my journey, and now having this knowing and understanding is the greatest gift that I could have ever given to, you know, the people around me and to myself. So,
What was your journey, or how did you even kind of come across this particular path? As you mentioned, like, you know, if you look back 5 years ago, you couldn't see this path for yourself. So what was that journey, and what was like the moment that you're like, something needs to change here. I need to start focusing on me?
Yeah, it was after my daughter was born. So she was a COVID baby. Fun times for everyone. But I think, look, over the years, there was lots of different traumas that had kind of like built on, but it wasn't until my postpartum kind of period where it all just kind of hit, and I felt like I was in my rock bottom, and I had no idea how I could help myself. I felt like everything around me was kind of falling apart. I didn't know who I was. I had no sense of self. It was just a really hard time, and I had to really start like making some big changes. And the first one, I actually took myself to my first ever retreat by myself. And I didn't used to do much by myself because I had such PTSD and social anxiety from like my work on television that had haunted me for years. Like, I didn't want to go out in public. So for me to take myself to this retreat was so far out of my comfort zone. But being alone by myself without any distractions, barely any reception to, really just, I found a sense of peace that I'd never quite had. And then from there, I did everything in my power to try and bring that peace into my everyday life. And I started journaling every day, started to understand these thoughts and these patterns and these cycles that I was, repeating constantly. Just slowly but surely started to build this little toolkit of things that I was taste testing. It wasn't until I made the decision that like my life was worth it, that everything started changing. And look, it took time. Like you don't just heal overnight, but I don't even recognize who that girl was anymore. Or I look back and I remember the way I used to think and the way I used to act and how much resentment I had and like anger. It's wild to look back at that. But also I'm so glad I had that experience because now I know how I can help others.
Yeah. And I feel like the healing, you're always going to uncover new things about yourself. Like who you are now is going to be different to 5 years in time as well.
Totally.
And that's the beautiful thing about, the journey of life is you're always going to uncover new bits and different paths are going to appear and opportunities and you get to meet yourself on a completely different level as well. So I feel like it's a beautiful unraveling that you had there as well.
Yeah.
I'm not a mother myself. However, I do like, again, even with my clients as well, like, and people I know that are parents, there is that loss of identity in a way. And, when they're there for their child, they're then like, that's their number one focus. Like, how did you make that shift, or how did you manage both of them, of being a present mum and also focusing on yourself? And how has that also then changed the dynamic that you now have with your daughter?
Yeah. Well, I think now my biggest thing, I used to hear all the time, like, you can't pour from an empty cup. And I was like, what do you mean? Like, I feel like I'm just on overdrive all the time. But now I literally don't pour. I don't pour for anyone. I simply get to fill her with my overflow because I put so much love and attention and grace into myself that she gets, to reap the rewards of the overflow of it. And I don't actually have to pour at all anymore. And I didn't realize that self-care wasn't selfish. I always thought that it was like, how dare I rest, or how dare I do something for myself, or how dare I do this, that, or the other. But the thing was, no one else had expectations on me. I was the one that was putting expectations on myself and beating myself up. I was my worst critic. And until I came face to face with, the part of myself that was actually my worst enemy as well, who had been there my whole life telling me I wasn't enough, or telling me I wasn't doing enough, or I wasn't producing enough. And just kind of understanding that, like, oh, wow, that's a story. And I get to change that narrative. So as soon as I started doing more for me, I found that the way I showed up as a mum was just so much more calm. And I operated from a space of, calm and balance. And don't get me wrong, like, I definitely have days, but it doesn't take me long to kind of shift gears again and like check in with myself and figure out what I need to do to calm my ass down so I can be a decent mum. But for a really long time, I just operated from a place of like frantic, manic, like resentful, just overdrive.
Yeah. Super reactive.
Yeah. And now, like, I really don't take mothering too seriously. Like, I get to be a kid just as much as she does, which I think we forget that we get to do that. Like, yes, obviously I wear the pants, I'm the boss of the house, but I also get to like be a little kid again. It doesn't always have to be so structured or planned. Like, we spend so much time gardening. We spend so much time, like, if it's raining outside, sometimes I just look at her and I'll be like, shall we go dance in it? And we just get to go dance in the rain. Oh, don't, now you're going to make me cry. And like the other day I felt bad because she had school holidays, which I totally didn't account for. I was like, fuck, I have a 5-year-old now. I have to figure out holidays. And I felt really bad because I was doing like my course and then I had clients and it was just like a big day of kind of work in the studio while she was with my dad upstairs. And it was like 6:30 p.m. when I had finished my last like class. And I came upstairs and she was already in her pajamas and I was like, get changed. We're going on a date. And she was like, what? And I'm like, yeah, we're going on a date. She's like, oh, okay. And so she like put on her best dress and we like walked to the movies and I got myself a glass of wine, which I don't ever do. Like I forget that I'm an adult and I can like do that.
Yeah.
And we went and saw a movie together and like ate popcorn and lollies.
Oh, I love that.
And I'm like, and we had the best time. We were giggling. We had so much fun. And I'm like, wow, you know, we really neglect being able to just enjoy this life, you know? I think we put so much emphasis on having to be a good mum. But like when you think about it, what is a good mum to you?
Yeah.
Is she calm? Is she fun? Is she playful?
Yeah.
I think we, especially, you know, women who are wearing lots of hats, we really forget to play and we forget to find pleasure in like the little things. Like even this morning, her and I were making breakfast and the sun was hitting our window and the leaves like in a really interesting way and was making this really nice pattern on the wall. And her and I were just playing with the shadow and just watching it. And we were like in awe of it. And I was like, more of this.
Yeah.
Like, this is what matters. It's these tiny moments.
It really is, isn't it?
Yeah, these magical moments. It's like we're here for one reason. The one reason is to, you know, learn our lessons and to enjoy it.
Yeah.
And that's it. And like, yeah, shit happens. But also let's learn from it. Like how can we turn this into a lesson that it doesn't have to happen again tomorrow and we get to enjoy more time and we get to enjoy these magical little moments that are literally everywhere if you stop and slow down.
Yeah. And enjoy it.
Yeah.
It's about the journey. It's not about the destination, right?
No.
It's
like what is the destination?
Yeah.
Like I literally 5 years ago, I didn't think I'd be an energetic healer.
Yeah.
So God knows what's going to happen in 10 years, but cool, I'm up for it. Like I'm enjoying the ride.
Yeah.
I'm not going to stress myself out. I feel like your path illuminates itself when you're in alignment. You don't have to think as hard about what's next. You just, as long as you're focusing on how you feel in each moment and doing the best that you can in each moment, it'll work itself out. It always does.
I'm anchoring more into that every day as well, is that it's definitely about the journey for me. Like even when I have a goal, like the goal is not the destination because then there'll be another goal. It's about the who you become through the process as well, and having those moments of you're working, but then also what's the joy, what's the fun element, and how can you actually celebrate the life that you have already and be so grateful for what you've created. I think like it's such an important lesson into slow down and be present. Yeah.
And I also feel energetically woo-woo wise that when you do actually honor yourself and you are saying yes to like gratitude or joy or pleasure, I like get instantly rewarded with something. So if I'm like, should I sit down and do this or should I go and dance for like 15 minutes with my daughter? And then I'll go and dance and then somehow like someone will buy an ebook, one of my ebooks, or something will happen, or I'll get a DM from an aligned person and then we get to collaborate on something. Like I just feel like when you start choosing yourself energetically, the world starts working in your favor. Honestly, if you don't believe me, try it.
I
try
100% agree with you as well. Yeah.
So, and I always kind of think of it as a game. Yeah. So it's like, do I want to sit in this frequency?
Yeah.
Or could I choose to do something that's going to put me in a higher frequency, even if it's drinking my coffee by myself in front of the sun, like first thing in the morning and just like looking around me and being present for 2 minutes.
Yeah.
That's something that I'm choosing to do that's going to raise my vibration, which is going to raise the vibration of my day and what I'm attracting into my reality.
And I think people get caught up in like it has to be something big, over the top gesture in how to find pleasure or joy in everyday life. But as you said, it could be as simple as enjoying your cup of coffee just in peace by yourself in the balcony or like at the beach or in nature or whatever you choose and whatever brings you joy. But it's those little moments as well that you then just gets to bring you like so much warmth and gratitude for that moment.
Yeah. And imagine how many of those mini micro moments that you'll end up having once you start, implementing this. It's like how you were saying, like what does embodiment look like for you? And I'm like, oh, it actually just looks like life.
Yeah.
Like it's just my life now. So soon when you start, practicing these little micro moments of like bliss or pleasure or joy, you'll become more aware of like the moments where you need it. And then before you know it, your day is going to be filled with like more joy than it is like hardship.
Yeah.
Hopefully.
Because you'll start to embody the being of that as well, and the habits, which is great. So you touched on mums there as well, and pouring from overflow rather than from an empty cup, which I think is so beautiful in itself. So for mums that are listening to this and going, oh my God, I'm so time poor. I've got X amount of kids at home. I've got like, I work full time, this, that, everything like that. What would be a couple of tips for them to be able to implement like today, or that is easy for them rather than adding to their overwhelm or their to-do list as well?
Yeah. I think if you can wake up just a tiny bit earlier, and I know you're tired, even if it's 10 minutes, that you can sit down and shower yourself and make a coffee and enjoy it for 10 minutes. I think the biggest misconception is that you think that by starting to do the work, it's going to be more draining for you. And yes, maybe for the first couple of days of waking up a bit earlier or going for a walk or whatever is going to feel like work. But before you know it, like that work that you're doing is actually filling your cup. So it's going to end up energizing you so you can, get through your day without feeling completely burnt out. So just tiny little things, like whether it's making sure that you're choosing the right things to eat, or pre-planning your meals the day before. It takes a little bit of extra time, but your future self is going to thank you for it.
Yeah.
Whether it's just asking for help, that's the biggest one. Like people aren't always expecting you to do the most, babe. Like you don't need to do the most. You can ask for help. And people most of the time are really happy to help. So don't always just put it on yourself and think that people don't want to help you. People do want to help you. Yeah. Lean on your friends, lean on a coach, lean on your mother-in-law, whatever it is, even if it's just for a little bit of time through the week where you can go and ground yourself or sit in silence. Learning how to still the mind, super potent, even if it's 2 minutes a day, just like sitting in your bed, eyes closed, whether you have a guided meditation or just trying to space out the moments of stillness in between the thoughts every day. Yeah. Beautiful. Just like being okay with sitting with yourself, I think is such a powerful asset. And before you know it, those spaces of quiet in between the thoughts will become longer and longer and longer. And then before you know it, you'll have a quiet mind. And mums need that. Yeah, it's nice to have that, because the more that we can sit with ourselves and the more connected we feel to ourselves, the easier it is to be able to, lead with our intuition. The easier it is for information to come through, ideas to come through. Maybe a new way of doing your routine might come through that saves you more time. Who knows? But just spending that time with you. Yeah. And journaling, something that I swear by. I journal every single day, sometimes twice a day, sometimes 3 times a day, depending on the day. But journaling for me has been so wonderful, especially for people with a bit of a monkey mind or people that tend to think about, the same thing over and over again. Also a really great way for you to be able to set your intentions for how you want to show up in your day. And it's almost like you're planning yourself up for success by writing down those intentions and brain dumping at the end of the day maybe. So, yeah.
What's your favorite go-to journal prompt or question?
I kind of just like free flow. So I kind of am just like, today, this is what I'm doing. Yeah. And then I'll like plan on how the day's going to go. So I kind of already know. It's like, how like footy teams have like a play that they do, or basketball teams, I already know how they're going. Like if someone gets the ball, what play they're going to do. It's my way of like ensuring that I know how I'm going to operate through the day. If I'm going into a stressful situation, it's like, okay, I know that this is going to be a little bit like interesting, but I know that I've got this. I know that blah, 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 blah. So it's just a good way for me to like program myself for success for the day. And I also honestly just gratitude. Every day, like I'm always like, fuck, such a nice sunrise, or like this matcha is bomb. Like I'm always just writing. I've actually got a list of my phone that like every single day when something cool happens for me, I make sure I take note of it, because I'm like, what is life if you're not really celebrating even just the small things of the goodness that happens to you? And before you know it, like you'll open up my notes and it's like page after page after page of like awesome shit that's happened. You're like, you know what? In hindsight, my life was pretty great.
Yeah. And I think I love that, the celebration in the small moments, and like every day there is something to celebrate, right?
Yeah.
And I think sometimes you forget to celebrate yourself, and also like sometimes it's the small wins, like you know, yay, I arrived here on time, or whatever it might be. It's sometimes just celebrating those small things that then changes that frame of mind too.
Yeah. Like my drive here, I just came across like a whole album of like old Flume songs that I used to love when I was in my prime.
Yeah.
And that had just made my whole morning. Like my whole drive, I was like, I am in the best mood today.
Yeah, music is definitely great for changing state, right?
Oh, yeah. Yeah. One of the quickest ways that you can change your state, for sure.
So good. So, yeah, dance around. Put on your favorite song and dance around.
Yeah. Yeah. Get in the body.
Yeah.
Feel it out. Yeah. It's also a really great way to like go through a process too. Like if you're feeling sad and you want to move that emotion through, honestly, put on some Adele, close your eyes and put your hand on your heart, and then let yourself cry for a little bit, and you'll be like, oh, cool, feel better now.
Done. Yes.
It's a great way to like upregulate. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. All right. I said that we'll come back to dating.
Oh, yay. I'm ready.
Do you know what? I haven't spoken, I don't think I've spoken about dating yet on the podcast with any of my guests. I'm really excited about this as well. So you mentioned that you're single and you are open to dating and to meeting someone and calling someone in. So how, like, you know, you're someone that's very successful by yourself and you know who you are, know what you want, know what you desire, know what you deserve, and all the things. How do you navigate dating and waiting for the right person and calling that in?
Yeah. Well, I mean,
why did you have a little chuckle then?
Yeah, because you're like, how do you navigate dating? I'm like, babe,
I don't.
I have no idea. I've been celibate for 2.5 years. So I've been like all well and surely out of the game. But, you know, I'm at a place now where I'm like, I feel really good. Like I'm in a really good time in my life. There is like a little bit of fear because I'm like, but life is so good. Like, do I really need Fabio to come in and like ruin it all? You know? But I also, like I said before, I used to just like force and like chase and like try and make stuff happen all the time. But now I'm like, I know I'm in a good place and I know I'm open, and right now that's enough. Don't get me wrong, I have downloaded Bumble a couple of times and made a fake profile just to see what's out there, and instantly I'm like, oh, no.
Delete.
Yeah, like I can't. Like there is no way I'm going to be searching for someone. Like I definitely know I'm not going to get on like a dating app. Yeah. Like I don't need to be in a relationship that much because I am really happy in life.
That.
And I think like if I didn't find anyone ever again, I don't think I'd be that sad because I've got my daughter, I've got great friends, I've got great family. I don't really feel like I'm missing out. I've got lots of time to watch my trashy TV shows, but also I'm open and I'm faithful. Like I feel like the universe fucking loves me now because I've done the work. And I'm constantly getting rewarded with like things that I don't expect and things that I can't write. Like there's no way some of the stuff that's happened to me I would have been able to predict at the best of times. So I have no doubt that, you know, the perfect person for me will show up at the perfect time. Yeah. It's just whether or not, you know, I continue to not have to search or not have to, because I feel like when you search or when you are chasing, you're in the vibration of lack, you know, like that you don't have it, so you need it. Yeah. And I don't want to have that. Like I want to keep feeling abundant. I want to feel like I have it all. And I like, because I honestly feel like I'm in love as it is. Like I have those feelings because I'm happy with life. So I think I just want to keep staying here, and I'll let you know.
Yeah.
I'll keep you posted.
With you being celibate, was that a intentional choice as well?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I'd just gone through such a huge transition in my life. The last thing I really wanted to do is like entangle myself with someone and latch on to someone or need someone as like an emotional crutch or whatever. I just really wanted to deal with my shit.
Yeah.
And deal with, separating and being a single mom and literally all of the years of other unprocessed shit that I'd been carrying my whole life. Like I just wanted my own time. And it was so nice. Like it's been amazing. And I've also had enough time to really figure out like my own pleasure practice and like what I like and figuring like understanding my body better and just really going we're going there. We're going there. I'm sorry.
I love this
but
though.
like I don't think I ever really prioritized my pleasure. It was always about someone else.
Yeah.
So being able to like take the time to like unlock this new version of me and this new era of me and really expand my capacity for pleasure and know exactly what I want and what I don't want, what I like, what I don't like. Because I don't think like for a lot of people, especially if you've been in a relationship since you were young, unless you have a really open and, you communicate really well, it's hard to really know what someone wants if you don't know what you want yourself or if you've never had the time to explore. So, it's been really great, like this time of exploration, and so much so that like I really like sexology is something that I'm studying now because I'm like, wow, it's so important that people are okay to be by themselves and to explore themselves and to understand themselves on a deeper level, because I think then when it does come time to having mind-blowing sex or experiencing mind-blowing pleasure, you actually you feel safe within your body and you feel safe to be able to, share that with someone else. It's really important.
I've had similar conversations with some girlfriends and I feel like we're taught, this could be a bit of a generalization, but we're taught that the sex is about the man.
Yeah.
And so it's about his pleasure and it's about him, on his timeline. And
3 minutes.
Yeah, but literally like that's kind of what we're taught. And we're kind of like the afterthought and we're giving up our pleasure for them. But yet if we don't know, what is how to be in touch with our own body, how do we expect them to be and how do we then communicate that and ask for what we want at the same time? And it's, we're such women are so beautiful and we've got such a beautiful energy resource as well, and it's about actually being in touch with your body and the embodiment piece and all of the things that we need to be able to tap into. It comes back to the pleasure and the joy and all of that stuff as well.
And again, like it's just another, how I was saying, like women don't want to ask for help. They don't want to, we feel like self-care is selfish and then it also comes down into the bedroom. It's like we don't want to tell someone what we like or what we don't like because we don't want to offend them. And, it's all part and parcel of like coming home to yourself, learning how to use your voice, learning what your body likes or how your body feels when it's a no or how your body feels when it's a yes. Like I think also so many times women have probably gone into intercourse knowing full well that their body is a no.
Yes.
That they're saying they don't want to, but they're doing it because they feel like they have to. So there's years of that kind of trauma that also gets really stuck within the body that we don't deal with. So I think working somatically with the body for all these years for me has really allowed me to kind of release all of this stored stuff. Like especially when I started doing, going deeper into the pleasure practice stuff and going really slow with working with my womb space and things like that. It was actually like shocking the amount of emotion that came through me when working with these, areas because of how much gets stored there for women. So, if I want to be open and vulnerable and, whatever with someone else, I really need to make sure that like I've watered my own garden and I've supported myself and I've created that safety for myself so then I actually truly can feel safe with someone else in my most vulnerable, time.
Yeah. I'm like, where do I go with that? Like it's such a beautiful conversation, and I feel like, and that's the whole intent behind this podcast, right? It's conversations that count because like how many people don't openly talk about their sexuality or their experiences, yet we all have been there and we all have similar challenges, I believe, or thoughts around that as well. And especially women who are disconnected with their body, it's about, tapping back into that as well and feeling safe in that, and then having that partner that you feel that safe, that safety with as well.
Yeah. And I think too, like when you're connected to yourself, there's like a new level of intimacy that gets unlocked, intimacy with yourself, how you receive pleasure. Like you are kind of like, you get to tap into like the subtle, like the small subtle things. And then it's like, the connection with your partner doesn't have to be like, intercourse doesn't have to be like the main event. Because you understand what it's like to be a more sensual being, because you're used to working with yourself and being embodied and not being so numb to pleasure and bliss and all those yummy things. So when it comes to time to dealing with another person, you get to experience this whole other world of like intimacy and love and warmth and pleasure that maybe was never really available to you before because you had such tunnel vision for this main event, and you had kind of left all of the pleasure or expected it to only be in the bedroom instead of bringing it and drip feeding it throughout your day-to-day life, like those mornings with your coffee in the sun, or just being able to massage your arms or self-soothe yourself. It's just, there's so much shame, I feel, around women being fully expressed, and that's something that I'll happily shatter that taboo. But I think it's so liberating when we're able to feel it all, the grief, the sadness, the anger, the pleasure, the bliss, the magic. That's what we're here for.
Oh, absolutely. Lost my train of thought now as well. I'm like, there's so many, like, I have so many questions there at the same time because I love this topic so much.
We might have to have a part 2.
Yeah, maybe we will. I'm excited for you that, if you're open to meeting someone when that comes as well. It's because like there's so many women in my world right now, and a few of them who are single and doing the inner work and things like that, and just really being comfortable in who they are and the safety and the security, and me included as well, right? Like, I've got my vision and my mission and what I want to create at the same time. So I'm excited, like, when you meet your person and the change in that dynamic now that you've done a lot of work as well, and how that will play out as well. I
actually have a psychic reading tomorrow.
Do you?
And I haven't had, like, I don't really book into psychics, but one of my girlfriends went and saw her last year and she was like, it was amazing. And literally, actually a few of my girlfriends have seen her.
Oh my God, you'll have to give me the details.
And like to the T, they've been spot on. So last year I was like, I'm going to book it in, but I couldn't get in for like a year. And finally it's like arrived. I'm like, that's because I remember thinking it's going to come at the right time. And then I got a message the other week being like, don't forget your appointment. I was like, fuck.
Yeah.
So I'll let you know what she says. Maybe it's around the corner. I'm not sure.
Yeah. I feel it. It's happening. Are there any questions or topics that you were hoping that I would bring up today that we haven't had an opportunity to
I
talk
feel like
about?
we've branched out pretty far and wide. I think we've done great.
Yeah, I love it.
Yeah.
Thank you so much. I appreciate you coming in and meeting you as well. Like, I've absolutely loved it and the conversation. And I love that, topics like this are so important. And as I said, it's the intention behind the podcast as well, is just to be real and be open open and just saying, hey, this is what's going on for me. This is my journey and this is how I've navigated it as well, because there's so many people that are going to resonate with that as well. So
Totally.
I really appreciate your time.
And I think the journey too, like a reminder, it's not always pretty. Like it's not always pretty.
Yeah.
But I mean, there will always be a light at the end of the tunnel. Like if you're choosing you and you're deciding on you, it can't be wrong. So just remembering that on the bad days, even the bad days, eventually you'll look back and be like, I'm so grateful for them.
Yeah. Yeah. It builds the character, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Let's hope so.
Thank you so much.
Thank you, my love.